In this book, the culprit tries to kill George over and over again. The mystery is figuring out who's doing it and why. George doesn't have any enemies. Not true. At this point in the series, George has helped Nancy stop over 40 criminals. Maybe it's the culprit from the other George bicycling book. That would be my prime suspect.
Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review.
Ned invited Nancy and George on a 3-day biking trip at his college. The other bikers are spoiled rich brat Kendra Matthews. Kendra is furious George has caught the eye of hunky CJ Springer. Eric Olson is extremely competitive. He alternates between bragging about himself and trying to psych George out. Jennifer Bover looks like a blonde version of George. Jennifer skips work and lies to everyone about where she went. Nancy can't go anywhere without finding a mystery. So while walking back to Ned's frat house, she sees a house being robbed. The robber tries running over her with a motorcycle. She throws leftover spaghetti at him. It sounds silly, but it's very helpful to the police. All they have to do is look for the guy who's covered in spaghetti. The robber has stolen a lot of jewels over the last few weeks. The police aren't sure how he sold them. Eric declares himself the team leader, and he ramps up the pressure on George by telling the campus newspaper that it's a race between him and George. He later spies on her and interrupts her private conversation to say she won't make it all the way to the end of the cycling race because she hurt her knee last month. The biking starts. During lunch break, they're joined by traveling salesman Michael Kirby. George's knee support disappears, and someone tampers with her brakes. She crashes into a gully and hurts her shoulder. Michael offers to drive George into town. She says no, because he calls her darling. She's not Wendy from Peter Pan. Don't call her darling. Kendra says George faked the accident for attention. She threatens to hurt George for real. Kendra also accuses Eric because a similar accident happened on his last biking trip. Nancy has the police run a background check on Eric and Kendra. That's a mistake on Nancy's part. She should investigate all the suspects, not just the last 2 she talked with. Nancy catches Eric red-handed with George's stolen knee brace. He claims he stole it as a joke. Nancy breaks into Michael's van. She sees he's an imposter with the initials KS. He has a gun and records of all the burglaries. I'm kind of surprised Nancy doesn't have him arrested now. Jennifer goes into a store and begs for a bus that will take her somewhere else, anywhere but home. When Nancy confronts Jennifer, she is nervous and scared. She lies and says she just wants to go home to pay her bills. Someone ransacks Nancy's room and leaves behind a threatening message. The note matches Kendra's handwriting, but she denies everything. During lunch the next day, CJ drinks bad water and collapses in severe pain. He's hospitalized for the rest of the book. George later realizes she was the target. She and CJ switched bottles by accident. Kendra is the one who filled all the water bottles. Kendra cries and confesses she drugged the water with pills. She claims Michael told her to do it as a prank. Kendra hasn't played Nancy Drew Curse of Blackmore Manor, so she didn't know there can be serious medical side effects from giving people unprescribed pills. Nancy searches Jennifer's room. Jennifer has bank receipts, because of course she brought those along on a 3-day cycling trip. Jennifer made 3 large deposits, which perfectly line up with the burglaries. The deposits are all for $200. You can't earn that much money working as a waitress. Jennifer's ID proves she and George look a lot alike. They have the same hair color as me, same eye color as me, same height, taller than me, and same build, way more athletic than me. This proves the culprit is trying to kill me. Nancy realizes the culprit is trying to kill Jennifer. Jennifer recently dyed her hair as a disguise, so the culprit is accidentally targeting George. Nancy trails Jennifer. Jennifer buries a small bag in the woods. Inside are stolen emeralds. Nancy calls the police. They've discovered Michael is really a dangerous criminal named Kirby Stanton. The police ask Nancy to wait in her room while they come and arrest him. Of course, it'd be really boring if the book ended with Nancy hiding in her room for a couple of chapters. Kirby uses his gun to take Nancy and George as hostages. He takes them to a nearby bridge where he violently knocks George unconscious. Kirby's plan is to kill George and frame her as the burglar's partner. He will then force Nancy to be his fake girlfriend so he can escape to Canada with the stolen loot. I never thought I'd read a Nancy Drew book where the culprit's plan involves forcing Nancy to be his fake Canadian girlfriend. Kirby gets disturbingly close to shooting George before Nancy makes her move. She quickly disables Kirby with her karate moves. That's when Ned arrives with the police. Jennifer explains her role in the crimes. The burglar paid her $200 every time she delivered a package to Kirby. At first, she didn't know the packages had stolen goods inside. She took the emeralds out of one package, which prompted Kirby's extreme plan to kill her. Nancy promises her father will help defend Jennifer in court. The next book is about Nancy's dad, but there's no mention of Jennifer. The end. Post-book follow-up. This cover is a lie. Eric does not kick George off her bike in the middle of the trip. Maybe that was originally intended to be a scene in the book. I suspect the author had an oh crap moment when they realized the characters can't talk to each other and do mystery things while they're biking all the time. As a result, the book skips over almost all of the biking stuff. Everything happens when they're on lunch break or at a hotel. The hotel sections were stretched out longer than they needed to be, more so with the second hotel. A third of the hotel stuff could have been cut, especially since Nancy calls the police multiple times at both hotels. They easily could have been condensed into one phone call per hotel. The book has decent foreshadowing. When you reread it, you pick up on the small clues you missed the first time around. The stuff with George was good. I think Ned should have played a larger role. The ending was more intense than usual, which I liked. I give Nancy Drew Files number 87, Moving Target, an 8 out of 10.